Hello, Aman. How are you? Yes, it's true. Where'd you hear that? It's it was a book that I was teaching it at one of the local universities for continuation education, and it was called How to Become a Super Salesman, Armed, Powered, and Poised. It's a good book. Did you get a notification, or you just knew that I'm going to be on? John Anesi says, Mehran John Syracuse, 30. Hope all is well. My friend, thank you very much. Says, I've been enjoying the strawberry. I can miss you. Okay, good. Glad you're enjoying the strawberries. There's more than one or two if if one is spoiled. So you don't have to fret it. And Beetlejuice says, I got a notification. Okay. And Aman says he was a notification. Oh, that's cool. Aman asks, can psychology be used for selling stuff? All the time? It's used all the time by many companies who just want to sell rather than what you need. So they use psychology to sell. But if a salesman knows the benefits of his or her product and has the product knowledge and understands that this product serves a need and what that need is, and if that buyer or prospect is in the market to satisfy that need, then that's a natural sale. And of course, the budget and all that. But otherwise, if they're not in the market, and then you're going to have to go through tricks to get them buy something, that's not a happy sale, is it? How's the sound, guys? I'm using my Scarlett um, high-end microphone, but I hope that the sound is good. I was using it on a Skype appointment yesterday, and at one point, apparently it had static, so I had to go back to the Mac's internal mic. So let me know what they sound like to you. Maybe I bring it a little bit closer. And we have Alexander Orid. Says Alexander 34 Orid. Hello, Meran. How are you? Thank you, Alexander. Good to see you here. Says you made a wonderful video days ago. How to delete unwanted thoughts. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's a good video. I had a longer version of it by a few minutes. I thought this one I can make it short in 4 minutes, but it turned out to be only 4 minutes less than the original. So, but it's in a different delivery, and it's not as scientific and technical as the first one, not elaborate on that, but enough to show the background of it and to help people understand. Um, let's see, we have this little thingy here, so maybe we can get it out and put this here. That should be good. All right. So how many thousands of people are we here? And somebody was going to let me know how the sound is and resolution and stuff. My goodness, Mark is here. Mark Papa, where have you been, my friend? It's been a long time. That's Facebook. Okay, I was going to ask if somebody's on Facebook and can tell me if things are okay. Well, good to see you here, Mark. How are the kids? How are you? How is life? I sometimes see your posts on Facebook, and I think the girls are doing good. I mean, I see you sometimes with them and delighted to see happiness. Okay, good. I'm glad, Mark. Definitely glad. Good for you. And don't forget about the channel, Mark. You can always promote it however you can. Or talk about it, refer to it. We're still we're 9 years into this. I mean, you probably one of the first ones because you come from Facebook, I believe. And I started at Facebook. But 9 years into it, we only have 23,000 subscribers. But you guys all know that there are channels out there within 2 years, they have like 300, 400,000 subscribers. And lo and behold, heard it from you 1,000 times from you guys that their content is not nearly as efficient or meaningful as what we discuss here. However, they've got the subscribers. So there must be something that they're doing right or something I'm doing wrong, or somehow um, they know the tricks of the trade. So I need you guys to not forget about the channel, whether you visit it every day or not, just somehow help it out, promote it, to do something. I'm dying here. Well, the Skype appointments are quite a bit, which is great, but I want to see more subscribers so YouTube can also actually become, the main part of this rather than just be there to bring appointments. We want to reach more people and help more people if we can. Marx has found you in 2014. Yeah, that's right. Happy to promote you in any way possible. I certainly appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Not just certainly, definitely, certainly, and most certainly after that, because while we have such good contents as I hear every day, but subscribers are not representing it. So, anyhow, any help, guys? All of you appreciate it. We have Alexander Orid says, I have tried it and it's helpful and effective, but I have a question how to change direction when some thoughts are strong and are stuck in brain. Look, um, what do you do if you're eating your food or doing something and a fly keeps coming in? You do this and keeps coming in. You do it and keep coming in. What do you do? Are you going to say, okay, sit on me, shit on me? That's fine. Why? Because you're so persistent. And I bow to your will because I am nothing. You, the almighty uh, fly, you can rule my life. Is that what you're going to say? Because fly is very persistent, especially if you're eating meat or some sweets or whatever. Hmm? How about a mosquito? How do you deal with it? Hmm? Comes in a million times, you do this million times. You don't say, well, it's been 100 times now, and okay, uh, you win because you're really persistent. I admire that. Therefore, I'm nothing. You don't say that, do you? Shit is shit all the time. Doesn't matter how often it shows up. Hmm? You don't become shit. So if there is an intrusive thought of some kind, depending on what you consider intrusive thought, to each person, different thing is intrusive thoughts. But if something that shows up in your head in the form of thought and it's annoying to you, it's not in line with your values, then it shows up a million times, you ignore it a million times, fend it off. How? It's not a mosquito, you can beat it. It's not a physical thing. If it was a physical thing, it would have been crushed and trashed in a second by all of you. But the challenge is that it's not a physical thing. Therefore, no matter what your intention is, what your views on it is, it doesn't seem to see the result of your action, your effort to get rid of it. It's a virtual thing. And remember, just that you can't get rid of it because it's virtual, same way it can't do shit to you because it's virtual. If you can't get rid of it, that means it's virtual. And nothing virtual can affect actual, which is you. Don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't fret it. Don't think it can do anything to it because it's persistent. Because the Almighty in this is you. Just like the fly. Shows a million times, you have the ability to fend it off a million times. Eventually, the fly learns, I'm not welcome there. It's too hard. Keep going there and being fended off. Keep going there, not being paid attention to, being ignored. Same thing with thoughts. When intrusive thoughts show up, it's virtual. Number one, can't do shit to me. It can bother me, annoy me, try to convince me, but ultimately, I am the judge. I'm the only power in this entity, physically or mentally, that has the power to veto or choose anything, not the brain. In the video that I made just a while ago, Are You or the Brain is the You? I brought examples of work of brilliant neuroscientists and neurosurgeons, such as Dr. Penfield, Dr. Speary, Dr. Owen, and Dr. Leibet. Dr. Leibet's laboratory experiment was just as amazing as Dr. Speary's, Dr. Penfield's, Dr. Owen's, but it was in a different tangent. It showed, I don't go through the experiment, you can watch it and see the whole video. It showed that when you're about to make a decision, about half a second before you make a decision, there's a spike of electromagnetic activity in the brain. But when you veto that same decision, brain doesn't exist. There is no electromagnetic field activities in the brain when you veto. Means you're beyond the reach of brain in decision making, in intellect, because the brain doesn't have the choosing or judgment power. It guesses things. It has no power in vetoing. It doesn't have the intellect for that. It's a mechanical process. And when it goes malfunctioning, it malfunctions in its process, intrusive thoughts and all that, so forth. So Dr. Leibet showed that brain is not you. You're not the brain. Brain cannot, there are aspects of you and your mind that brain cannot reach. That's what saves you. That's the total power. That means it doesn't matter what it suggests or brings to your brain a million times, as long as you veto it or don't choose it, ignore it, it can never, ever turn into any actuality or do anything to you. It just annoys the hell out of you. And because the brain is very powerful, it might get you convinced that you're a monkey, not a human being, that you are, I don't know, like a tomato when you don't, or you want to jump off the cliff when you don't. But that's the power of the brain that can fool you or bamboozle you, manipulate you. But the power of veto and intellect is you and is in you, that you can use it to counter it, ignore it, and focus on your path and not be bamboozled or manipulated by either the brain, which is mounted on your head within your entity, or by people who try to trick you and move you off track of your plans and your path in life, which they're outside and they're different entities. They're both different entities because just because brain is mounted on top of your head, it is not you, and cannot control you, can manipulate you, but you got to be aware. That awareness saves you. When you're aware of a contradiction, that means you're not what the brain suggests. If you were the contradiction or what the brain was suggesting, you wouldn't become aware of the difference and the contradiction that the brain's suggestion is creating in you. The awareness tells you that you're not the brain and the brain is not you and brain cannot reach you. So stay on course and continue going on the path that you choose or veto, not what the brain suggests. All right. Talking to Atif says, hi, Miran. 38 male in New York City. Lovely tea. Today, we have a tea that is pomegranate green. Wunderbar. Organic green tea, organic pomegranate flavor, organic cranberry flavor. Allegro. Very nice. Very scrumptious. All right. Jess Logan. Jess 40. I don't understand. Toronto, Canada face. Just 40 non-binary. They/them. Okay, I don't understand, but that's fine. So just says from Facebook. Oh, okay, welcome. It's a Facebook connection. Good of you to join us, Jess. And we have Beetlejuice says, I try to promote your channel on Reddit as much as I can. Thank you, Beetlejuice. I appreciate that. Let's see what we have here. Lost it. Where were we? Atif says, plus I'm single. Okay. This is not a dating site, but welcome, regardless of what your religion, nationality, creed, gender is. Welcome. Preetu Barua says, hello, India 32 male. Thank you for that. Mauricio Rodriguez says, hi there, 38 years old. I'm from Brazil. I live in Salvador, BA. What is BA? Is it Brazil? Or is it Salvador something? BA. Okay. Thank you. Says, Brithau, let's see if I've missed anyone's question, just because I've been going fast. So where was the last time? We were at Alexander, then we had Atif, then we had Jess Logan from Facebook, and then we have Atif again, Beetlejuice. Okay. All right. I guess we caught up. Prithal says, why I feel guilty to move on with my life? Because you think it's a betrayal of what you had created to be the love of your life in your mind, and that image is still with you, and you don't have enough guts to understand that you created that echelon for that girl, not her. And you don't have the guts to move on, don't have enough respect for yourself to say, if she can leave you, you can leave her. Because you don't want to lose that psychological security that you had created with the order that you had created being in a relationship with her. And now your mind doesn't find security because mind doesn't find security in physicality like your body does. Like your limbs are here and you're sitting in your apartment, door is locked, you're in a good part of town, you feel safe, secure. Mind, brain doesn't find security in that way. It finds security in routine of life. So when you were with this girl and you had a certain routine, certain mechanical process, certain things that you would do individually or together during the day, whether it's texting or going somewhere or seeing each other or living together, whatever it was. When she left, you guys broke up. That routine through which that had created those mechanical processes, through which you had created an order in your life, that order was broken. But that order was what your mind was finding security in it, settling. Now that the order is broken because the relationship is broken, the mind is not secure. So constantly goes into the memory where that order, the echo of that order, recording of that order still exists, how things used to be, and finds security in that memory of that order that exists in the memory. And while you're there, she's there in the memory. And your security depends on being in the memory. And in the memory, she's here. She's there. So you can't forget about her as long as you haven't created a new order for yourself in life. So if you want to move on, you got to find new mechanical processes, things that you like to do during the day, new friends, new activities, new projects, new hobbies, new interests, what do you want to learn and all that, and through which you will create a new order. In that new order of life, the mind, your brain finds security. When it finds security, it doesn't need to go to the memory to find the old order and feel secure. And that's when you're ready to move on. But at this point, you're so hung up on her because you get the security through being in the memory and enjoying the order that was recorded in your memory, that you feel it's a sin to betray her, to let that order go. Just got to grow a pair and move on, live your life. Hope that was helpful to you. Emmanuel says, male 28 Boston. Hello, Emmanuel. All right. Guys, remember that if you guys, there's certain things that you don't want to talk about on the public forum here, you're most welcome to go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, and make an appointment to discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype with me. I have a program that if it's a new client and you make a 1 hour appointment, in that 1 hour appointment, I add another hour to it. So we'll have 2 hours, and then we'll have ample time to get to know each other and discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. So Emmanuel says, hello, Mehran. Hello, Emmanuel. Is it good idea to look for a girlfriend while you're still collecting unemployment benefits? I know how proud girls are. Well, depends how you guys hit it off. If the girl is waiting for you to become rich to approach her, maybe you lose your chance, or maybe she loses her chance. Maybe you're not being kind to her because you think of her as a money grabber or gold digger or something. But present yourself the best way you can, and at the right moment you guys can talk about your finances and you can tell each other the truth, and that is what you're doing at the moment because times are tough. And if her interest to be with you is not you and how you treat her and how you interact with her, and it's about how much money you make or what kind of job you have, then perhaps that's not the right girl. I'm not saying you should be lazy and don't make efforts to be able to provide for yourself and for your girlfriend, possibly at certain point, for going out on dates and stuff, because you're not responsible for her life. It's a girlfriend, it's not a wife. Even if it's a wife, some women these days don't even want to think that their husband should provide for them. I mean, that's the kind of brainwash they've received in the society, that it's not a good thing if you are being provided for extra things in life. Like, it diminishes them. This whole bullshit of feminism, that it's beyond being proud of being a woman. It's about fooling them to think that they shouldn't have a good man around them to protect them, to provide. If they don't want to work, if they want to work, what's wrong with still having a husband who is ambitious and wants to work and provide for the family together? So, this idea of feminism is not really feminism. It's about being anti woman, not enjoying the benefits and the pride and the respect that the woman deserve. You know, in the old days, they were so special. Women were special. They knew they were special. Everything about them was exclusive to maybe few people in their lives. Now they've sold them a bill that, look, you know, the more you have boyfriends, the better life is. Well, if that's the case, why do they ever stop? Why not continuously have other boyfriends? Same thing with men. Why don't you continuously have other girlfriends? But eventually, you stop. So if you can stop at number 20, you can stop at number 30, you can stop at number 10, you can stop at number 5. So look for quality and compatibility rather than pleasure in life describes life for you. Life, pleasure in life is part of life. Not that the whole life should be dedicated to find pleasure, because then you'll never see life. You'll just be busy with finding pleasure. Jump off the rock, bungee jumping, parachute, go out parties, drink all the time, have sex here and there with anybody and everybody. It's all about pleasure. Then what about the quality? What about respect? What about that whole speciality that you can only offer one or two or eventually one person when you eventually choose someone? But you've been fooled. Women have been fooled to think that they shouldn't be special. They should not be considered as special. They should not think of themselves as the center of the world, as the most beautiful thing on this earth. They should be for anybody and everything. And they should think that it is them who are enjoying, rather than thinking they're becoming the tool for other people to enjoy them. They've brainwashed them. So all that security, all that protection, all that provisions, all that respect, all that providing for them, finding them amazing center of life, to build something, to work for them, all gone to hell. And they still don't know it. They think that's feminism. In fact, that's against being a proud, valuable woman. They are degrading themselves by allowing themselves to become like men. Instead of promoting good behavior in men, they're becoming like men. Instead of um, what is it? Instead of giving a special gift to men who are good, so they would be available to only good quality men. Instead, the minute they say to any man, "Do you want to have sex with me?" within 2 seconds, they get a yes. Hmm? But the other way around, it's not possible for us men to ask someone like that and she would say yes right away. So what happens is their specialty is now going out the window. They're now available not as precious as they are. So anyhow, that's my views. We can go on maybe another topic or another time on this same topic. So Prithu says, Prithu says, male 32 India, how to love myself more. I feel guilty to put myself first. Why should you put yourself first? If you love your woman, put her first. At least when she should be first. Says, I end up wasting my time and other people get the benefit. No, you can't. You can't. You just be the gentleman that you are. You just be the best you can be for the woman that you want to be the best you can be. And if she can't appreciate it, that's on her. You can't now say, oh, from now on, I'm going to be an asshole because this one that I was really nice to, she didn't reciprocate. That's on her. She couldn't see the value because she's probably not able to see that value. She's not measuring up. She's not in your league. She can't understand the difference between cubic zirconium and diamond, um, crystal or glass. Same shape of the jewelry, same shape of the ring, but different quality of the stone, but she can't tell the difference. That's not on the stone. When she chooses a cubic zirconium ring, nothing diminishes from the diamond ring. It just means she didn't have the knowledge. She didn't deserve it. She couldn't tell the difference. Then she deserves cubic zirconium. But you're not supposed to say, oh, the diamond is not supposed to, oh, because she didn't choose me, therefore, I will not be a diamond anymore. I'm going to be cubic zirconium. Oh, that's nonsense. So you don't change yourself for the mistakes that others make. You stay as you are. And the right quality who appreciates you will eventually show up. As I said, women have been duped to think that they're entitled to constantly see how much more somebody else is willing to pay for them in the way of efforts, energy, and provisions and coming after them. So, and as soon as they get that, because the world now in such a way that you can have another one, they'll dump that one because their confidence is not coming from themselves. Their accomplishments and their contribution to the world is coming from the attention of the others. And that attention never ends. And if they, as long as they understand that, they cannot consider that feminism. They should consider that anti-feminism because they're devaluating themselves. Instead of having men to cater to them, to be generous and gentle and caring and respectful to them, they're simply going from one branch to another because they haven't created that confidence coming from within themselves according to what they learn and contribute to the society. And instead, they just don't get satisfied from this gift and they want to go to another because they want to say, okay, That novelty is over. Now let's see who else is willing to pay attention to me, because that's how I feel confident about myself. That's not the woman that world goes around for. Hmm? Eventually, that's a vortex that nobody wins out of it. At least that's what I think. Ash says, "Hey Mehran, do you have any idea how to not be shit at relationships?" Yeah, don't try too hard. Don't put her on pedestal, but be respectful and loving to her, and only show as much interest as she does. Most women, not all, are not that confident. You show them so much love and attention because you adore them and you think they deserve it, but they don't think they deserve it because they don't have enough confidence in themselves. And they think, well, if I don't think I'm much and this guy pays so much attention to me, but I don't think I'm anything special, then the guy must not be special. Then they leave you because they thought you're not special, paying attention to them because they don't think they're special themselves. So if you're paying attention to something that they're not, it's not as special in their mind, then you must not be special. And because you're not special, I don't want you. It's quite crazy, but that's how it works. So basically, be gentleman, be good, but not overly. Don't try to show them, because when you try to show too much energy and efforts and attention, it's selfishness. You want to capture their attention by force, by paying for it. See, I'm paying so much love to and attention to, so where is it mine? That's selfishness. You got to leave her to be free to choose to be nice to you. And if this amount of care and attention, niceness is not equally measured from both sides, then naturally you guys would not be together. Because you can't be constantly worried about how much attention is she going to give me? What should I do to get more attention? Or what should I do to get a little attention? Instead, it should be a voluntarily from both sides. You do because you love to, she does because she loves to. And if these amounts are equal or close to, it works. If you have to pump it up all the time and motivate her and bribe her, do things for her to get a little back, that's lopsided. That's not going to work out. And he says, I know that's a loaded question. HOCD aside, I seem to be creating problems in this relationship. I have no real idea why. Because you're trying to prove to yourself that you're beyond HOCD. So constantly you're trying too much with her. And it's not for her benefit, it's for your benefit to prove to yourself that, see, I'm in control. You know, I am who I am. I'm not, victim of HOCD anymore. I got over it. And you're constantly trying to prove that. Don't. HOCD is HOCD. It's a subset of OCD. It's a thought pattern. So leave it the way it is. Don't pay attention. Like the fly, comes and goes. Just swat it and go. You don't have to go after it. Now it's there. Now I gotta go. Now I gotta go. You can't catch it because it's virtual. You can't catch it to destroy it because it's virtual. Let it be. By letting it be, the fly gets bored. There's no food to eat because there's no entertainment, there's no data hunting, there's no interaction, there's no exchange of energy. You're not after it and you're not doing anything. You're just letting it sit. As long as the fly is sitting on the wall and you're not really going after it, it doesn't fly around and take your attention away. It just sits there. Thought is the same. Okay, thought shows up, it's intrusive, you don't like it. So what? It can't do anything to you. But when you pay attention to it, it seems like it has power. It can do something to you. Why? Because it is doing. It's taking your attention away and you're, scared about it. What are you scared about? Whatever shows up in your head. It's a picture. It's like you just open the channel of a TV and it's got some nonsense that you're not interested on it. So what? It can't jump out of TV and make you become the, I don't know, the monkey in the jungle or the snake that's going to sting you. It's a movie. It's a suggestion. Hmm? Don't get into the movie. Hmm? Just watch it. That's all. There's nothing to it. But when an intrusive thought shows up that is intrusive to you, to different people, different things intrusive, uh, depending on your values and inclination and what's in line with your path in life and choices, well, if you constantly be concerned about what's showing up, well, then you're giving it energy to seem as if it's real. Hmm? Remember, we said life is an illusion. The illusion you focus on is the reality. Life is an illusion. Reality is the illusion you focus on. So these thoughts have no power. They show up. But if you entertain them, then they seem to be having any kind of a life to affect you. Hmm? You know, like when you're walking around the city or sitting in a subway or in a restaurant and people are talking, as long as you're doing your own thing, having your own conversation with your friends and people at your table, what they're talking about doesn't concern you. But once you start eavesdropping and checking what they say, then you're drawn into their conversation and you will have a opinion about their opinions. You agree or disagree, it starts affecting you. Just what do? You ignore it. You do your own thing. Same thing. Thoughts show up, you do your own thing. Don't think thoughts are you. Don't think that what shows up in your head is you. It's an apparatus's production, the brain. But you have been here a millions of years before this brain that is an apparatus for you to use to advance your purposes was given to you 40,000 years ago. So it's an added tool. So you can't think about this added apparatus, added tool to be replacing you. You've been there that it could be added to you. If you weren't here, the brain wouldn't exist. Hmm? You would exist because you existed millions of years without this sophisticated brain. You had reptilian brain, you had stem brain, and you survived everything on instinct. Everything was hardwired. Everything was clear. No ifs and buts about it. No intrusive thoughts. No nothing. The brain was added to you because you existed before. So the brain is not you, and you're not the brain. You're you, and the brain is an organ that is given to you for you to use for what it is that you want to accomplish, calculate, learn something, I don't know, produce something, design something, figure out something, these sort of things. So consider it that. Okay. Wahida says, you're amazing, Mr. Meron. Thank you. I didn't know that. Why? And good to see you, Wahida. Don't forget, guys, age, gender, where you're tuning in from, so I can address you properly and know what your background is by knowing where you come from, could help the communication. Ash says, I just blank suck at relationship. Well, almost everybody does. Because you think you're responsible party in this relationship. You're not the only responsible party. You're only responsible for your actions, for your side, for your interests, for your efforts. But you want to be, people who want to be responsible for the health of the relationship all on their own, they're the ones who suffer. You're only responsible for your part, your side. To be a good person, to be caring, to be nourishing, nurturing, be a gentleman, depending on, whatever your role is in that relationship. And The other side is also responsible for her sides. You can't just constantly shoulder the responsibility of others. It's just inconceivable. um, Hero Mania Studios. Okay. Says, hello, sir. You helped me a lot. I literally have defeated HOCD. Thoughts are gone. Well, it's not a matter of defeating. It's part of life, part of our life. Brain has its own activities, and sometimes it shows itself in the forms of thoughts that are not in line with your values. So, what a big deal. You entertain it, you give it so much importance, then it starts consuming you, because the more you focus on something, the more it gets energy to stay there. It's through rewiring your brain, through neuroplasticity. The more you focus on something, the more you pay attention to something, is no different than the more you play piano, you become a better piano player through the bridges that is created between the two ends of the receptors of the synaptic neurons, and you're rewiring through neuroplasticity, teaching yourself to be good at playing piano because you practice it a lot. You pay so much attention and focus on it. Same thing, you pay so much attention and focus on a certain thought, you become really good at it, and you're focusing on it, you become stronger on noticing it, looking for it, and exchanging energy with it, and data hunting it, and following it, and all that. So you're conditioning yourself for more of intrusive thoughts. But when you ignore it and just focus on what it is that you want to focus on, then they learn the reverse of it through, again, neuroplasticity, but they learn not to show up. Why? Because you're not paying attention to them. They exist. Thoughts exist. They're there all the time. The question is if you focus on them or you don't. It's like you're in Paris in Louvre Museum. All paintings are there. But it depends on which one you're looking at and focus on. That's the one that takes your attention and you become aware of it. But the ones that your back is to it, you're not paying attention to it, you're not looking at them, they seem like they don't exist. Although they do. They do in the whole picture of Louvre Museum. They're here and there in different floors. But only the ones that you're paying attention to are of any consequence. So thoughts are like these. They're in the museum. They're in the inventory of your consciousness. They're there. But you're not supposed to give a shit. You select. And your expertise should be in the way that when you go to select something, if something else attaches to the thought that you're trying to select, bring out of the consciousness to do something with it, you just ignore those. Keep focus on the thing that you are selecting because you need it to do something with it. Because all other thoughts come up as soon as they see, oh, you entered to take something, they all want to rush out. Take me, take me, take me. They all want to attach themselves to the thought. By association, they want to come out of the consciousness and to find usefulness, find use for themselves. Thought thinks they're alive. But you're supposed to stay focused on precision selection. Go pick, come out. That's where focus comes. That's why you get good at things in life. Athletes, when they're trying to do a high jump or whatever else it is that they're doing, they're focusing on that because they're capable of thinking of other techniques or wrong techniques or right techniques or other tangents of the athletic world, sports in those events. But they got to be focused. They're spectators, they're hurrahs and clapping and all these other events, and the speakers talking about different events, but they're fully focused. So events in life goes on, but you're fully focused in your life when you go out to school or get the bus or go shopping or whatever it is that you're doing. Everything else is going around. The events are happening while you're doing your own thing. Same thing. Thoughts are all there when you go pick them up, but you focus on pick that up, bring it in, do what you want to do with it. And that's a training. That's where focus is important. That's why meditation and learning how to focus on things is important. You got to train yourself. You can't think that, oh, a brain is given to me and it's trained to do exactly as I want it. No, brain is as stupid as it comes. Is the dumbest thing in the world is the brain, because it thinks it knows things and it's a busybody in everything. When it's not focused, it's got no power. But when it's focused, you give it the power that you need to give it. So you will select what you want to select, and the rest of it, it's like they don't exist. It's like you're in the Louvre Museum. You look at the painting that you like, the others look like they don't even exist, even though there are thousands of them in there. Yeah, that's how you treat thoughts. Otherwise, you'll become a gopher. You'll become a tool in the hands of the tool brain. Yeah, you'll be following around, and what thought shows up, let's see what that is. No, you don't. You ignore everything, like you ignore everything that goes around in your life when you walk in the street. You only focus on what's safe, on what you want to do, and how you can negotiate to get accomplish what you set out to accomplish. All right. Having said that, Khaled Mansour says, hello again, sir. I considered your advice about the age gap issue. Ah, I remember you. You're the 55-year-old gentleman that you were going to convince an 18-year-old girl's parents to allow you to marry her, right? Khaled says, hello again, sir. I considered your advice about the age gap issue with my current girlfriend who is 18 while I'm 50. Oh, I remembered it well then. Okay. I still got it. And he says, my relationship with her parents has improved since I have agreed to give them a share of my business. Khaled, what about the girl? She's the important one. Fuck the parents. They can't make a decision for another human being at the age 18 who she should marry. What does she want? They're being convinced by you giving them a part of your business. But they're not the one who's going to be sleeping with you in a bed, living with you in a house, living with you the rest of their life, be bound to you for certain duties and responsibilities. It's their daughter. It's none of their goddamn fucking business. You got to ask what the girl wants. If the girl thinks at age 18 she wants to marry a 57-year-old man, that's her choice. You respect it. You love her forever, whatever you can do, if both of you are in the same zone. But if she has any hesitation, any reservation to go through with this marriage because your wealth or because the parents got some part of your business, what would you do if that was your daughter? And a man would show up, 57 years old, the daughter is 18, and you disagree. You and her mom would disagree. And the man gives part of his business to you, and you agree. How do you feel about it? How does your daughter feels about it? Listen, I don't want to cramp your life or your style, but you're here, you're asking me for advice. In my right conscience, I have to give you what I think is right. I have no problem if the girl is 26, 27, and you're 50. She's old enough to make the connections to what she likes, what she sees. She had some experience in life. She's come to a certain conclusion. She likes your attitudes, your manners, your looks, and whatever it is that she's interested in. At least she has an idea. But 18 years old, what does she know? She's doing what her parents are telling her. But talk to her. Does she love you? Does she want to be with you? Do you know her? Have you talked with each other? Do you find things in common? Even that 26-year-old and the 50-year-old, 30 years difference, it may work if she's so mature and the 50 years is so young still in mentality and physical abilities, that they can share certain commonalities, funds, and challenges and things. But even that is a challenging thing. So much of a difference. If the girl is in her 30s and you're in your 60s, I'd have a better feeling for that because they're both mature and both have seen a thing or two. And if they're still young enough at heart and physically, fit, that's a different story. There's more chance for that to work. They may actually work really great. But for heaven's sake, 18-year-old girl in Iran hasn't seen shit, hasn't seen a damn thing, doesn't know anything about relationship, doesn't know anything about sex, doesn't know anything about what she wants. It's all confined to the world that has been created in her consciousness, for her, around her, by the surrounding, by the culture, by her parents. Talk to her. Tell her about the challenges. Tell her about the things that she might want to try and you don't. Tell her about the things that she hasn't seen anything about life. She doesn't know what other guys are all about. And maybe she actually, if she knows it, she may say, no, I really want you. But give her that opportunity. So later on, she will never come out. If this thing works and she agrees to marry you and whatever else, she will never come back to you and say, well, I was a child. I was so young. I didn't know better. I don't want you. I hate you. You didn't give me a chance to try anything, to know anything. You don't want that. Instead, if you guys, even after you discuss things with her thoroughly, she decides to marry you, it should have been she remembers you as a person who had her best interest in mind because you talked with her. You told her about your shortcomings. You told her about your age. You told her about the fact that you used to be as young as she was and you went through ages and you experienced things, but she hasn't. And if she still finds that conversation enlightening and still finds it that she wants to choose you, at least you have this going for you that you did your best or something to inform her. Because you're supposed to not to think about yourself in this relationship. You're also supposed to be her savior from all things that could harm her, including you. Savior from your own desire as well. Once you do that, and you should be convinced that she has understood her options and the opportunities that could await her if she doesn't agree to marry you, and she still wants to be with you, at least you have done whatever you could. But in my opinion, you should not pursue her. Go find somebody who's in her 30s. It will serve you better, that relationship. She would appreciate you more. She's seen a thing or two, some hardship in life, and she can compare it with what life is like with you. And she may actually elevate that relationship by admiring and appreciating it because she knows a thing or two. Hmm? And she has chosen it based on knowledge, not based on there was nothing else. And my parents were saying okay, and he was coming along strong, and she had let her choose. Don't make a choice for her. It's going to come and bite you in the ass. But worse than that, you have manipulated a woman. A woman is precious at any age. You're supposed to be the protector, the guardian, whether she's yours or not, whether you can have it or to the cost of you not having it. Just do what is right. Mm? Protect her. Let her know everything. But if she's head over toes in love with you, after all these explanations, after discouraging her, then what can I say? But I still say you should walk away. More power to you. All the best. Khaled says they're okay with this because they are not a wealthy family, whereas I am. Even though she's 18, she will have a good life, as will her family. So long as they are being financially supported by me, they're fine with me marrying their daughter. I understand you are against this, but 18 years old is legal in my country, Iran. Khaled, I understand. And I understand that is very strong desire to be with a young woman at the legal age. But fuck this kind of a idea that she's at legal age. Of course she should be at legal age, but that's the bottom of legal age. Beginning, the law in this case should not be the deciding factor. Morals, guardianship, what's right should be the deciding factor, not the fucking law. That law says 18 years old is a legal age. Okay. But where does it say 18 years old and 57 years old is a good match? And even if it does, fuck that law. That's a stupid law. You are the law. You are the consciousness. You are the one who should see what she wants. Give her the choice. Hmm? If she loves you, she has had some experience in life, let her go play with other boys to learn what it is to have a boyfriend, to be in love. I don't know. This is how I think. You do what you think. If she and her family are okay with it, who am I to say what? But that's, if you ask me, that's my bit on that. Apeksha Tapa says, hello, I hope you're doing well. My ex wants to be friends, boundaries, but I want to work on things. How do I let go of someone you really love? You can't love her if she doesn't want to be with you. You have to have some kind of a standards, criteria. What do you mean? That's not love. How can you love someone who doesn't love you? How can you love someone who doesn't want to be with you? Isn't the first criteria for loving someone, having a relationship with someone, is that that someone also wants to be with you, wants to love you, wants to get to know you? That's lust, what you're talking about. You can't love her. And she wants to be friend with you? No. Why? Absolutely not. So she can feel confident, she can go flaunt it to the other guys? What? You're what? Grooming her for others? Make her feel confident so she can choose better? That's on her. She had the opportunity to be with you. She doesn't want to be with you. Okay. You respect that. And wish her well. But respect yourself and wish yourself well as well. You don't want to be friend with an ex. Bye-bye. Hero Mania Studio says, hey, sir, I have a problem. Can I ask something, sir? Of course you can. That's what we are here for. Atif says, 38 male, New York, You skipped my question. Did I, Atif? Let's go back. Let's go back, find Atif. Atif says, hi, Miran, 38, male, New York City. I'm finally moving out of my mom's house and starting a new job with NYU. Okay. I'm very excited, but the place near the job is near my ex from 3 years ago. Not sure if she even lives there. But that is the only damper in my exciting new job and move. What the fuck? What's wrong with you? So, a non existing memory of something that didn't work is going to decide and manipulate and jeopardize the actuality of exciting life for you. So, a non existing dead memory can rule your exciting present moment actuality of life? How you protect yourself? Huh? How you respect yourself? So you have more respect for some fucking memory of 3 years ago that some girl lived in an apartment that is closer. Is that how pussy whipped you are? You can't even respect your life and the life that you want to prepare for a possible wife or a girlfriend that you have in mind and you will meet in the future, that she, where she lived, that experience of that relationship can shed all over your future girlfriends and possibilities and job and survival and everything else. Isn't that pretty fucked up? Grow a pair. Grow a pair and go get your job and enjoy it, and just whenever you pass by that apartment, just fart. That's all it is right now. It's a memory. It's a dead memory. It doesn't even exist. And that is a scarecrow for your present life. Go before I get my little friend here and have your name etched on it. The ugly stick. You're familiar with that, aren't you? So, and oh, no, okay, Jess, we already greeted. So we go to back to where we were. Okay. Hero Mania Studio says, hello, sir. You helped me a lot. I literally have defeated HOCD. Thoughts are gone. I never had groinal responses, thankfully, so they are not there too. So I'm clear. But so what if there's groinal responses doesn't mean anything. You can have groinal responses to a statue or to a bicycle or to a dinner date set up in some restaurant. Association that the brain makes with concept of sex, it could be triggered by anything, but that doesn't mean you're actually having a groinal response to the prepared table for dinner date. It just associates itself with sex, concept of sex, and then brings about whatever is sex for you, and then you have a response. Well, that doesn't mean anything on its own. And the hero says, however, after a few days, totally OCD free, my brain now says to me that I turned gay. But because of the fact that I always masturbated to women, my mind made it a habit and can't discover the truth. What do you mean? What's to discover the truth? This is your inclination, that's your interest. Now, you think the truth is by proving the opposite of what you are, then you'll know the truth? No. By focusing on what you are, then that's the truth. What's the truth? What's the truth? A certain set that is set out there for you to think this is truth, that's not truth. Focus on your interest in biology and your awareness and your contradiction between the brain and you, thoughts and you, and that's what you are. What are you hunting for further and further for what? Why you see, OCD is a doubting disease. That's why you think, I gotta find the truth. The truth is fucking hitting you in the head, in your face. You're like a woman. So, but you think, I gotta now prove I'm not the opposite of it so I can be what it is that I am. That's OCD. That's doubting disease. That's what it is. French call it doubting disease. That's what it is. So you stop hunting for anything, stop doubting anything, just live by your vetoes and choices. Whatever your choice is. Not what the brain says, what your choice is. What is it that you want? What is it that you like? What's your inclination? What's your values? What's in line with your values? When a brain suggests something and you find it contradictory and you become aware of this contradiction between what the brain says and what you are or what you prefer, then that means you are what you prefer, not what the brain suggests. That's the end of that. You live with your vetoes and choices, not by suggestions and thoughts. Remember, you were here first. Brain came later. So you're the boss. All right. I think we answered that. We answered that. Okay. All right. No, hero, don't go down to that rabbit hole. These are all bullshit thoughts that you're constantly following. Remember what I just said. I will upload it and listen to it again. Do not, do not follow that bullshit that you're saying up here. That don't do this for a month and do it opposite. That's nonsense. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. None of that bullshit. You go get an appointment with your psychologist and who's specialized in OCD and subsets of OCD and ask them that question. And you can always make an appointment on Skype with me. And you know that I'm not a psychologist. You know that I'm not a doctor. And I don't claim to be. But if you want to discuss my experiences of how I explored this and researched this and what my videos are all about, you're more than welcome to go on my site, mind@6truth.com, make an appointment, and we'll discuss it further. Um, where are we? Wow. So Jesus forgives, or Jesus forgives, says, Hola, hola, ¿cómo está? Yeah? Says, what's the common medication you prescribe to your patients who suffer from depression? I am not a doctor. I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a psychologist. I do not prescribe anything. I don't have the credentials, any medical credentials. I simply research. I write certain books about the movement of the psyche. I have life experience about many things. I'm 65 years old. I know a thing or two. And I heavily research different topics, um, modern science, philosophical, how the brain works, how the neuroscience works, and all these things. But I'm not a doctor. And I've said that many times in videos and different announcements to make sure there is no misunderstanding. If you need to talk to your doctor, please make an appointment with your psychologist, psychotherapist, and discuss your issues or with your doctor. And Jesus, or Jesus forgives, you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. And you can make an appointment on Skype. And for a new client who makes a 1 hour appointment, I add another hour. So we'll have 2 hours to get to know and explore the topic, what's concerning you together. In the Lugani says, Dawood Mehran. What is Dawood Mehran? It says 24-year male. My ex was a ardent feminist. She and I had so many disagreements about feminism. I learned a lot from that and what I want in a woman. Yes, that's right. In most cases, feminism has duped women from their speciality, fooled them to lose all the amazing features and worship that we men do on them, and they turn themselves into men who want to be as assholes as men are. I don't call that feminism. I think that's obliterating the respect and the speciality of what world goes around, which is woman. And they're not doing themselves a service, and they're not encouraging good men to learn and to strive for becoming a better people, because women's standards dictates and expects that. Yet women have brought their standards down to men's standards, and that's that's no advancement. The politicians either want their votes, so they tell them whatever they want to hear. Other men want to fuck them, so they listen, and whatever they want to say, they listen and adhere. But just because they want to use them, and companies want to sell them products, so they've considered them whatever they say so important. They're all using women, and women have supposed to be smarter than this, to not be fooled by this bullshit that is being selling them all these nonsense to take away all their specialities and the respect and what world was striving to please them. Instead, they've now turned themselves into something that hate men, or I don't know what they're doing. Then nobody can build a life around them, you know? So there's so many things that's gone wrong because women who are into these feminism nonsense have lost the understanding of what the real feminism is, to be proud of the woman that they are. They are woman. They're feminine. They're woman. There's nothing wrong with them to want to change it to become harsh or I don't know. Don't shave your legs and look like men. That's feminism? I don't know. You gotta teach men to be better people rather than becoming like them. Have 100 boyfriends. What does that get you? What does that mean? All right. And the Lugani says London. Okay, thank you. No, hero. Beetlejuice is right. You stop constantly assuring yourself by different sources, because among all these different sources you will find a bunch of knowledgeable experts in the business like Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner, Dr. Schwartz, and they enlighten you and educate you about what OCD and subsets of OCD, including HOCD and whatnot, is. But among all these things that you're data hunting, going to listen to this and that and search here and search there, you'll also get lots of idiots who don't know shit, and they have different motivations and they say shit. And all you need is to be triggered by some nonsense, and then you go on a different path, rabbit hole, and you feel like shit. Why? Because you didn't rely on science of it. You went on everybody's door and asked, "Hey, what do you think? I had this feeling. What do you think about it?" You're trying to get votes and consensus and numbers game. It's not a numbers game. It's a fucking science. So go talk to your psychotherapist, psychologist, or listen to videos that are made by Dr. Philipson, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. John Weiner, Dr. Owen, discussions of Dr. Ignar, having to do with neuroscience, neurosurgery, experiences that Dr. Speary did, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Libet. These are all Nobel Prize winning researchers that shows you the separation between brain, you, and thought. And this was a science that started 1,000 years ago by Aristotle. You know, the dualism versus matters or void, materialism. And these have been taught, and now the modern science through neurosurgery and neuroscience have come and actually proved what was already known from 1,000 years ago. Hmm? These are important things that you should rely on, not knocking on every door. What do you think about this? What do you think of it? That's exactly how you're going to go nuts. Good job, Beetlejuice. I'm proud of you. Hero, grow a pair. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't say I'm not seeking issue. You do, hero. Stop that. That's not going to serve you well. Beetlejuice. Good job. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Let me go to cool. What is that? It says, "Hi, sir. I'm 32, male, India. I have religious, blasphemous, intrusive thoughts that fear me a lot." Yeah. Yeah. Scrupulosity. All right. Let me read that. So, so scrupulosity you were talking about here. System. Okay. Says any tips for blasphemous, intrusive thoughts that provoke guilt and fear? Yeah. Who's doing that? Who is doing the blasphemy? Who? You're not doing it, because if you were doing it, you wouldn't be asking this question here. Hmm? Basically, I'm not religious, but we're talking about you. If you were in agreement to that, what you're referring to, you wouldn't be asking that question. So obviously, it's not you who's doing it. So who's doing it? Brain. Brain is a separate system. You can't be responsible for what the brain spits out in anyone's account. As long as you have not turned into an action, brain may suggest you to go and kill someone. You can't be guilty about that thought because it's a thought. It's a non-existence. It's virtuality. It's not an action. It's not an actuality. And you are the boss to make a decision on allowing this thing to see the light of day or fall by the wayside and die on the spot and never act on it, which is the case that all people deal with OCD handle it that way. They hear it, they never act on it. Nobody. Pedophilia, OCD, they never touch a child. Even the thought shows up. The scrupulosity, they never do anything harmful to others or mean anything to their God. It's a thought. A thought can show up, but that has no bearing of what you are, who you are, what you identify with, what your worth and value and beliefs or system of living or policy in life or respect for life is. It's a thought. It's a residue of activity of the brain. Material process. The neurons are doing so many activities, billions and billions of activities, and often these things go crosswired and the malfunction in the signaling system of the brain causes all these things, and then intrusive thoughts. What could be intrusive to you could be different to the other person, but that shows up, and you got to know that that is the uh, characteristic of brain. It can malfunction. The problem is that you think what comes out of the brain, you have made brain to be infallible. That's bullshit. Brain is an organ. Huh? Your intestine is an organ. You fart, do you not? Did you want to fart? Did you plan on? I will get up this morning. I will have 5 farts. You didn't. It happens. Yeah. It's something it has to do. It's a malfunction for it. Yeah. Or it's in fact, it's more legitimate for the intestine to do farting than it is for the brain. Brain is malfunctioning, but the intestine actually functioning when it farts, because it's for a healthy intestine, and system. It's supposed to fart. That's good. But what I'm trying to say is that you didn't plan for it. You're not responsible for it. It's something that it does. Now, in this case, is positive. But in the case of brain, it's something that it does as a residue of its activities of material process. And in doing all these calculations and activities, it can create some kind of a nonsense that has nothing to do with who you are, what you prefer, whether your values or your thinking process, whether it's about this or that or the other. And you're not supposed to follow it and thinking that this is defines you or you're responsible for it. And I have to feel guilty about it. Now you got to go to the altar or whatever your religion is. You just go to the, I don't know, monastery or whatever, church or mosque or synagogue or whatever it is that you're supposed to be now repent that 100 times. None of that. You're not responsible what shows up in your brain. You're responsible if you allow it to take action. And if a thought comes to say you want to make it action, no, you don't. Because a thought and suggestions That you want to do something is not like the same as having done or doing something, actually doing. No. So don't get fooled and don't be bothered by all these things. Okay? You're not guilty of anything. And if there's a God that you think is know it all, then it would be pretty stupid God if he doesn't understand that this is actually scrupulosity. It's a malfunction of the brain and counts it as you're responsible for it. That's no God. God knows already that these are malfunctions of the biology that of the brain that has been given to you 40,000 years ago, which is it's a work in progress. The brain hasn't developed really; it's developing. You know, you lived for millions of years before 40,000 years ago, where this reptilian brain and this stem brain turned into this sophisticated brain. But still a work in process. Got lots of shit going on, lots of malfunction. That's why we've got more mental issues and mental illnesses today than anything else, pretty much. Every day we wake up, we have some kind of a mental issue: anxiety, fear, depression, OCD, this and that, worry. So, no, you're supposed to think, oh, brain, despite of it all, is infallible. So if it suggests to me that my finger is my toe, I must agree. Well, no. You have an awareness, intellect. Brain is not the intellect. Your intellect, your awareness of the contradiction between what the brain suggests and what you know you are, what you know the facts are about you. That's where you hang your hat, not based on what the brain says. Fuck the brain. It's an idiot. But you're not. The brain is separate systems. Brain, thoughts, and you are not the same. Okay? You use the apparatus of the brain to create a certain kind of idea, thought, suggestion, design to figure out something, calculate something, design something, produce something, learn something, accomplish something that you set out to accomplish in life. And the brain itself uses its own apparatus to make thoughts and suggestions and things as well. But those are not your thoughts. They're brain's thoughts. It's got nothing to do with you. Separate system. You know? Your initiative to use the brain to make a thought and make something, use it for certain advancement or certain reasons, a project that you have is totally different than what thoughts is made by the brain itself using its own apparatus. So brain, kind of thoughts, and you are separate things. You're not the brain, brain is not you. Dr. Schwartz proved that in his brain log book. Easy. Okay, let's go on to next. Crazy, crazy or crazy, crazy. It's supposed to be crazy. Crazy horse says, "Sorry, sir, I don't have the ability to contribute to your work financially, but thank you very much for your videos." You're quite welcome, dear. My pleasure. Enjoy. Promote the channel. Promote the channel by talking about it on different chat rooms and promoting it and so on. And Crazy Horse says, I got a lot of help from your HOCD videos. Delighted to hear that. That's what they're there for. And one says, hello, Miran, male 15. I hope you have permission from your parents to be here, dear. I would like people to be 18 years and up. But if you're here, I hope that your parents know about it and you'd be able to have their permission to be in our live stream. And he says, I'm suffering from HOCD and a long time without attractions. I can't remember what my 100% libido was like. Anxious. Any tips? What tip do you want? You just have to understand this is a malfunction of the brain. You don't have to worry about it. Just continue, push through your life the way you prefer it, the way you choose, the way you think it's right for you. And don't try to prove that I'm still as hot for girls as I used to be. Just let these things fall by the wayside by not paying attention to them, by ignoring them and focusing on what it is that you prefer, what it is that you like, what it is that is natural to you, and you identify with it. And they will disappear because by not paying attention to these thoughts, the brain learns that the brain cannot force itself on you by constantly knocking on door and saying things that you find it controversial to your values. You find it contradictory to your values. And as long as you're aware of that contradiction, well, then you're not what the brain suggests. And stop trying to prove to yourself that you're not by trying to see how much attraction you have with these girls. Is it as much as before or is it not? No, just leave it. Don't have to prove anything. Look, it's like I'm walking in the street and somebody comes and tells me that you're an asshole. Now, what am I supposed to do? Try to prove to him that I'm not an asshole? Or just say, well, I don't give a fuck who you are. I know who I am. And I go about my business. So if this guy keeps telling me you're an asshole every day he sees me, and I keep going, eventually the guy says, oh, he doesn't pay attention. He's not interested in this conversation. I'm being an asshole by calling him an asshole. So eventually he disappears because he's not being entertained. No reaction. Same thing. When you leave the brain alone and don't entertain it, don't respond to it, don't take it seriously, don't consider it as if it's alive or if it's got intellect, then you will not data on it. You will not respond to it. You will not become as obscene as the suggestion of the brain is to you versus what you know that you are and who you are and what your preferences are. So if somebody keeps cussing at me in the street, I don't have to prove to him that I'm not a motherfucker. You called me motherfucker. I'm not. I'm going to prove to you. Let me take you to see my mother and see how classy and how amazing this respectful woman is. I don't say that. I say fuck you. Okay. I ignore. So when you don't entertain them, they fall by the wayside. You don't try to prove them. Because who are they? What is a brain? The problem is that since childhood, you guys have been duped and convinced that the brain is you. That's why now when the intrusive thought shows up, you think, oh my goodness, I am the intrusive thought. No, it's the brain, and brain is not you, and you are not the brain. If you focus on this, the problems mostly is solved, because then you rewire yourself with facts that I'm not the brain, just like I'm not my ass, I'm not my nose. These are things that I need to have this physical entity function. And sometimes these things that are added to the existence of me for this entity to function malfunction. But if I don't believe that I am my nose or my nose is me, then when it malfunctions, I don't believe that I am snot. I just feel, okay, I got a cold and I got to take care of it. I have a cold, not that I am cold. I'm not the snot. My nose is running because I have a cold. My brain is malfunctioning because it's talking nonsense that I don't identify with, and I find it contradictory to what I know I am, what I've always been, what I prefer to be, what I choose to be, what I know I am. That awareness, it's your witness. All right. Hopefully that was, yeah. Thank you for that. I forgot. Zoltan says, how's the tea? Oh, divine. God bless tea. Zoltan says, I still need to send you some rooibos. Remind me, where you tuning in from and your age? Um, Beetlejuice says, get the stick, Mehran. This guy is here. I did. I believe I did. And it's here just in case there's any doubt. The ugly stick is here, guys. And I've got everyone's name in here etched out. So if you want to get out of it, be deleted, behave, take good care of yourselves. Otherwise, you're gonna see the. You guys are lucky that it's the, no flights and no travel and all that. Otherwise, this ugly stick would have been knocking on everyone's door pretty much. Rani Aidmir says, "Hey, Meran, it's me, Rani. Hello, Rani. I'm trying to remember. Rani, Rani. Um, not registering. Uh, about anxiety, but sometimes I have no thoughts before getting anxiety. Yeah, but those anxieties definitely are coming from the memory, unless it's like anxiety for an exam tomorrow. That's different anxiety. But the thought is already lodged in, initiated it because of it exists in the memory and it must have associated with it. If there's no thoughts, there's no anxiety. Hmm? Watch that video. I'm sure you'll agree. Don't have to listen to what I say. Just check it out. If you're meditating or you're focused on a sport and playing the sport, there's no anxiety because there's no thought other than what you're doing. When you're making I don't know, a hobby work, woodwork, or fixing something, and you're totally into it, if you just look, say, hey, for the past 5 minutes, I have no anxiety. Why? Because there's no thoughts. Because you're focusing on fixing this thing. All right. Okay, now we've got a bunch of questions here. Hmm. Is any of you guys are on Facebook? How does it look there? Is it on? And so I have Shirin here, or Radish, Radhi Shaw first. Says, how do you know? Ready? I need age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Then I'll get to your question. Shirin, same thing to you, dear. I need to know that first. Hmm. Okay. Redhi Shah says 19 female. From where, Redhi? 19 female. And She asks, how do you know whether it is an intrusive thought or like it's something that you are, your actual thought? Simple. There's a contradict, there's an awareness. The fact that you're saying, oh, no, or you question, or you say, it's like it's like saying, how do you know if you're holding a cup in your hand? Well, because when you don't hold the cup in your hand is free. When you don't have a cup on your shoulder, the weight, nothing is pushing on it. Nothing out of ordinary. Nothing alerts you of a difference is happening, a contradiction with what it was, what you were aware is happening. So the awareness of a contradiction is for you to know that this thought is intrusive thought. Let's say you like apple, and a thought comes to your mind that you like apple. Yeah, you like apple. There's no contradiction. But if a thought comes in that apple is shit, that's not how way I think. I have apple every day. I like apple. The awareness of this contradiction of this thought tells you that this is not my thought. This is intrusive thought. Awareness. If you guys watch the videos that I have, who's talking to God, or observant, or observer, I think something like that, or if you put the word observer in the list of the videos that I have, so example here, there it is. This is a 39-minute video, but it's in four parts. This is all four parts, but there are other parts that are shorter. So you can simply watch this video and it will show you clearly that you're outside of the brain. And brain is not you, you're not the brain. Very simple. These are not difficult to know. If you watch the video I have, are you or the brain is you will again see evidence that shows you that you're not the brain is not you. And once you understand this, most of your problem is easily solvable, or at least it's on its path to rewiring your brain through neuroplasticity because you have this information and it's clear for you. I put two videos there, and I put this a third one. Who is talking to God? Again, that's something that you would want to watch. I put it up here. Okay, and this one is also interesting. Roots of HOCD or OCD in general. I put it up here. And maybe this one as well. There's so many that I don't know what to put in there for you. There's enough information here for you to educate yourself. All right. So, where are we? And Shirin, have you brought about that information that I needed about where you're tuning in from? Aha. Female, 33. Thank you, Shirin. So Shirin says a question. Let's get to our question. It says question. How do you know you have intrusive thoughts, not just obsessing about something because you're used to dwell on it? Well, let's say, give me an example. For example, if you are obsessing on something that you're dwelling on it, like what? Like your mother said something, or your boyfriend said something, or your friend said something, and you're going on and on about it. That's OCD. It's not intrusive thought. Obsessive compulsive disorder. It's like touching the light switch 500 times. You just keep turning it on, turning it off. Oh, I got to do it one more time. So everything's balanced, so nothing bad happens. You know, that's obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's not intrusive thought. This is not saying anything that is not within in line with your values, but it's just suggesting you to do basically like if you're walking in the street and the pavements are made out of blocks of tiles, and you keep walking from this tile to the next tile without touching the borders of the grout around the block. You just want to put your feet right in the middle, or making sure you actually cross every grout, and or you cross all four corners of the grout. These are obsessive compulsive disorder. They're not intrusive thoughts. And I've done all that. Talking from experience. All comes from psychological security that you're in. I've discussed that, why we have OCD. And it's interesting to find out why we actually have OCD. Why we develop and entertain OCD. Here it is. That's the one of the recent videos that I made. I suggest you guys watch this. It's a very short video compared to, the length of the videos that I usually have, but it is very useful. It tells you about why you have OCD. And then another video, why is it crucial to train your brain? OCD and HOCD. How does OCD and HOCD operate? Just go on the channel, on the search engine of the channel, and put in OCD. See what comes in. And there's one that's called OCD, HOCD. Why brain does not care what thoughts it makes. I gotta watch it myself. I forgot what I said. It seemed to be interesting. And another one, how to help OCD, obsession compulsion, the delay. How can we help reduce or get rid of OCD obsession? Oh, that's cool. Let me put that up there too. I gotta watch that myself. I remember. I don't remember what I've said, but obviously they are intriguing. So I'm gonna be my own customer today. And then we have another one says why OCD HOCD is common. Oh, that's cool. Gonna put that in there too. All right. I've put enough for you guys to watch, but you can just search it yourself and figure out. All right. Oh, sound is not clear now? Is that what you guys saying? You cannot hear me? Oh, okay. All right. Let me switch that. Is it better now? How long has it been? 15 minutes. Oh, only a few minutes. Okay. Only a few minutes, yeah? Is it better now? Is the sound okay? This is what happens in the middle of discussions. This somehow something malfunctions. The problem is so. Can someone tell me if the sound is good? We can hear, but there's a background noise. I see. How about now? Is it better? It's better. Has it been a long time or just maybe 5 minutes or so? I wonder why this thing works like that. All right. Um, Noise are still there, but your voice is audible. Okay, let me switch one more time. Although there is a car out there that is making lots of noise and probably is being picked up. How about now? Is it any better? Please help me out, guys. Is this now any better? Are you now hearing me okay, or is this still background noise, or all good? Just let me know. Keep talking to see if you guys can make a comment on it. Aha. All right. That's because that car was making lots of noise out there. Okay. All right. Can few other people also let me know if it sounds okay or not? Please, please, please. Somebody, anybody, let me know if the sound is okay. I'm going to keep repeating myself to you guys. Eventually, hear me out and help out. Let me know. There are some sounds from outside that comes. Okay, it's all good. All right. That was the incident, I guess, with that car. All right. So where are we now? Where were we? We talked about. I think Shirin was going to give us an example of this. I haven't gotten that yet. Um, Pratap Sin 20 India male. Okay. And Nova 21 male Florida USA. Thank you for that. Shirin female 33. Shirin, how about where are you? What part of the world are you at? Noah says the intrusive thoughts just won't go away. They keep playing in my mind on repeat. Yeah, it's like SSS, stuck sound syndrome. You don't question that and you put up with it and you know that this is just a loop. But when it comes to thought, or images, you question it. Like it's very clear for you when you have a sound looping in your head or a rhythm or some jingle, it doesn't go away. Sound, stuck sound syndrome. That's what it is. Same tune is playing. And you sleep at night, you get up in the morning, it's okay, and suddenly it shows up again. And you're clear that this is just nonsense, a malfunction. But when a thought shows up about your values, about your inclination, about anything else, intrusive thoughts, pedophilia thoughts, murdering thoughts, scrupulosity thoughts, you go nuts. Like, oh my goodness. Well, it's similar to the malfunction that happens in stuck sound syndrome. But you go wacko as if it's, oh, I'm changing into some. How come you weren't saying the same thing? Because it's the same neurological change or attack or malfunction. And we talked in detail about the role of striatum, role of caudate nucleus, how it malfunctions the signaling system of the brain. It doesn't get the information and the decision to prefrontal cortex. We talked about the role of amygdala and the anxiety and so on. But you constantly want to focus on what's showing up here because you've been duped to think that the brain is you, that you are the brain. You're the follower of what brain shows up rather than you are the master of choosing what brain produces rather than accepting that what it produces is you. You have been duped since childhood to think that what brain produces is what you should identify or that it is you. That's silly, isn't it? Who you are, what you are, is already decided in the womb of your mother. Now, the brain is being unstable and, like any other electronic machine malfunctioning, does malfunction. But then you say, oh, the malfunction is me. But what I've always been and what I choose to be, what I want to be, what I like to be, what I identify with, that's not it. What the brain says. If brain is everything, why is there you to actually find a contradiction between what the brain suggests and what you prefer? So there must be a you that judges and sees the discrepancy and contradiction between what the brain's thoughts are suggesting and what you disagree with it or question it. So this awareness of this contradiction, it gives you all the answers. But you still are so weak-minded that, oh no, brain knows more than I do. How? Brain couldn't exist if you weren't born. Brain couldn't exist if humanity, if human being wasn't living for millions of years and eventually developed a different kind of brain. That development of the brain could never be if there wasn't a you first. There wasn't this Homo sapien living being first. And now you're saying, well, what this brain that was added to me 40,000 years ago, what it thinks and what it malfunctions, what it says, that's me. Really? So it should have been the brain first and then you add to it. It wasn't. You were living fine for millions of years, all instinctively like any other animal. No thoughts. Everything clear. Your sexuality clear, your habits clear, what you needed, hunting, eating, sleeping, having sex, whatever, all. No controversial. Nothing discrepancy. No contradiction. No thoughts. Everything started when we were able to think. And then all through time we were conditioned and brainwashed that this what makes thinking possible. I'm actually it. What it says I am. No. You're still supposed to correct and train the brain. You're supposed to train the brain. If you don't, when it goes malfunction, you don't know what to do. Because you never learn that this is your animal, your trainee, you're the trainer. You got to train the brain. That's why you can rewire it through neuroplasticity. Neuroscience has now proven. And the experiments that I put in here, Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Libet, Dr. Owens have done brilliant experiences. Nobel Prize winning clearly shows you the brain is not you. You're not the brain. Hmm? There are aspects of you, aspects of the mind that the brain cannot reach. The brain is not the intellect. So don't treat it as if it is. All right, all right, all right. Okay. Nova says, why is it that we are taught at a young age to put so much significance to our brain's thoughts? Because brain was used for you to solve problems. It's an apparatus that was used by you. You're the operator and you knew how it works and you got to solve problems like doing math. And you always attributed and associated solving math problems or any problems with brain. Hmm? So you end up thinking brain is the intellect rather than you focusing on the fact that the brain is a tool that its job is to make thoughts or calculations, figure out things. It's a it's an apparatus that you use to figure out things, to learn things, hmm? To put input into consciousness in the memory, and the memory has a mechanism to hold this information. So where you store your information to use it later on in your schooling or in your sports or in your interaction with life, you begin to learn that the brain is the most important and that you are the brain. The brain overrides you bit by bit because you kept using it to solve problems, to handle challenges, to think, to figure out things. Instead of thinking, its job is to make thoughts. My job is to judge which thought is useful for me and how I want that to be used in what I want to figure out or solve. So that's how you got conditioned to think that you're the brain and you're the follower of the brain instead of treating it as an organ, like your kidneys, the liver. It has a job to do. And when it malfunctions, you go fix it. But when this malfunctions, you say, oh no, that's not malfunctioning. That's me. No, it's an apparatus. It also can get sick. Simple. Brad Gernazian. That's an Armenian name, is it? Says, hello, watching from Colombia. I have been struggling with HOCD for 3 years. I often struggle when seeing an attractive male. Is it my HOCD? Is it me? Yeah, well, look, if you've been heterosexual and you like women, and then suddenly one day you have these sort of thoughts or feelings, obviously, uh, body reacts to brain, and brain is very powerful, and it can make your body react even if it doesn't exist. Brain's power is amazing. For example, if you are sitting here and imagine you're in a vineyard, out of season, and all the grapes are green and sour like hell, and you pick a green grape, put it in your mouth, and chew on it, and it's the whole acid, the whole sourness drives you crazy. Then you get a lemon and cut it in half and squeeze it in your mouth. Right now, you can see you're salivating, but there is no lemon. There is no grape here, green grape. You're not in a vineyard. But the brain doesn't understand virtuality and actuality. Your body follows the suggestion or the belief of the brain and make you salivate as if you have a green grape in your mouth. So what doesn't exist, the body has reacted to because of the associations that the brain can make and the power that it has. It can convince you that it's time to salivate. So when you see an attractive male, you associate the attractiveness of the male to the fact that he's got better chances with women. And you're a male, so you kind of feel envy. Oh, that envy turns into respect. That respect tells you, oh, you're forfeiting your priority. You're respecting another male. That translates you as an interest. Envy and respect, and then you translate that he's more man than you are, and then suddenly you translate that to interest, which all it was association of the brain with the male. Male obviously has got a better chance, that male that you think is good looking, better chance with the women, and then that brings about the topic of sex, and then you simply envy that and you create that respect, and whatever it is that is associated, you end up thinking, oh well, that good looks meant something more than the fact that I can notice a good look of another man. But you live in a society that anytime you notice a good look of another man, you're supposed to give it a meaning. The problem with us human beings is that we live by conclusions. Like you don't just simply observe things, you perceive things. If I see a good looking man, so good looking, great. I like good looking people because I consider myself good looking, at least I did. And therefore I am aware, or I'm focused on the looks of people, because we're all conscious about how we look, because that is how we kind of have a better chance with girls or out there, whatever your inclination is. That look is important. So you're aware of your looks, so you're aware of other people's look. And when somebody is handsome, it's an observation. What's wrong with it? You notice somebody else's good looks. But you live in a society that if you're noticing another same gender's looks as being handsome or good looking, you're supposed to give it a conclusion. Not that it was an observation and the guy's good looking, so what's wrong with it? But you now have to give it a category, a conclusion, a meaning. What does that mean? Oh, that means I'm gay because I noticed another man's good looks. Well, that's normal. You're supposed to. That's how you differentiate people. And that's how you appreciate symmetric looks and well-designed good looks. And then you get interested because the guy has a better chance with girls and you kind of feel envy. All of that is normal. What's wrong with that? Many women notice other women's good looks. What's wrong with that? It doesn't have to be a conclusion to it. But we live in an era that everything has to be a conclusion. We don't deal with observation. We deal with perception of what we see that means something, because somewhere else we saw somebody who noticed somebody's good look. It was this gender or that inclination, or the movie was showing it in a certain kind of a connotation. And now suddenly that observation doesn't have the meaning of observation. It has a perception, a story to it. Now there's a conclusion. Now that conclusion is coming to me. Now I'm questioning, why did I notice it? Well, you're supposed to notice it. It is perfectly normal for you to notice a good look of another same gender, another man. I remember when I was a kid, Sean Connery was very manly and we always admired his look, the way he dressed. And the girls liked him, and we tried to learn and kind of, learn how to be a man by looking at these role models. And then there was Roger Moore, another James Bond, and was good looking. And I used to try to comb my hair that way, so it would kind of look like him. So I would consider myself then, oh yeah, he's handsome, so I'm handsome. How can I be like having a hair like he has? Because we could see the advantage of it would be all these girls like him. But there was never a question of, oh, that means that there's this admiration or this recognition of a good look of Roger Moore would mean that I have an interest to another same gender. None of that. But these days, so much of these perceptions and conclusions are discussed in public forums and televisions, and people's personal lifestyle is being put on, podium and discussed and so on, that everything has a meaning and conclusion rather than just being a simple observation. Today, if somebody notices another actor's good looks, same gender, would then question, oh, does that mean I'm gay? Why? Because that question is constantly being discussed, and a conclusion has been attached to such observations, wrongfully so. It's a normal thing. People recognize each other's good look. There is no more explanation to it. So this is exactly what you're asking me here. It is perfectly good look. Yeah, yeah. Because you are always trying to be sexy yourself because you like women, or whatever your inclination is, you want to be sexy. So you see another male's muscles or fitness, and then you associate with that with your muscles and your fitness for the purposes that you're interested in, and then you consider that if you make good muscles and good fitness sexy, so that other guy has good muscles and good fitness, so you consider associate that with sexy for the purposes that the kind of inclination that you have. Then all of that suddenly has a conclusion in your mind based on what the media and what the discussions in the world is about, and then the association of what's out there, how it's perceived out there, and what just you observe, and the association of it with the word sexy. All of that makes you to think, oh, there must be a conclusion here. There is not. You just observe something, that's always no big deal. The society has created so much meaning to everything. There's no meaning. Not at all. So live by observing rather than perceiving, then you wouldn't have any of these problems or associations constantly needing your opinion about it, or data hunting about it, discussions. No, no, none of that, Brad. None of that is. These are all malfunctions of the caudate nucleus, which is in the striatum, that is designed to automatically to shut down intrusive thoughts with any conclusions, because it's aware of your values, and it's aware of what's in line with your values and who you are, what you are. But when it malfunctions, it's like an automatic gear shift of a car, as Dr. Schwartz explains, that is not actually getting into gear automatically as the speed changes. And when it doesn't, it's like you got to actually grab onto the manual gear and put it into its gear. So how it is in the case of thoughts process, when caudate nucleus, which is that automatic gear shift, malfunctions to do its job and shut down intrusive thoughts, then you're supposed to, with your behavior towards these thoughts, rewire and kind of put that gear into place manually. How? By ignoring any meaning to an observation, to a thought that showed up, by ignoring the thought because it's not in line with your values, and your awareness of this contradiction tells you that it's not in line with my values, because you question, because you wonder, because you say, what is this? That's not the same as how it's been. Hmm? And when that happens, by ignoring it and focusing on what it is in line with your values, focusing on what it is you're out to set out on that day, on whatever it is that you want to accomplish on that day, then brain little by little learns that you're not paying attention to these intrusive thoughts, and it becomes, through neuroplasticity, it rewires itself to not show up or produce or bring these sort of perceptions into your brain notion, because you're not showing any interest. In other words, you're manually having coded nucleus to act as it's supposed to, but manually you're disregarding and ignoring these thoughts. So the brain eventually learns there's no interest here. Don't waste your time. Don't create these thoughts, because they're just annoying to me, and I'm not going to pay interest. I'm not going to pay attention to them. I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to interact with it. Hmm? And then eventually it shows less and less until it doesn't show up. And if it does, you know exactly what it is, and you treat it the same way. It's like a cold. You get a cold, it goes away, and then it couldn't come again, but you know what it is, so you just deal with it. And then eventually coded nucleus gets back into action because it's been rewired through neuroplasticity, your behavior. Okay, guys, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes. I think we answered all the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did by sharing some information. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you guys. I love you all. I look forward to talk to you again, perhaps tonight at 9 p.m. I usually on Saturdays have 1 p.m. Vancouver time and 9 p.m. Vancouver time. And if I'm not out and about for a walk, if the weather is raining, I may have another one tonight. Otherwise, I may be just out by the ocean, taking a stroll and enjoying, contemplating in return. So, in the meantime, be good to yourself with the others. And if you need to talk to me, go on my site, mindthat6truth.com. Make an appointment on Skype, and then we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Be good to yourself with the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.